Portlock was cursed and Bigfoot's place and nobody goes there. Overnight, everybody left.
From unexplained disappearances that defy logic to terrifying encounters with a creature of legend, this is the chilling story of Portlock, Alaska, a town abandoned by its people not once, but 4 times. A prime location with a dark secret. Portlock, situated on Alaska's remote coast, was once a promising site for settlement. Its abundant resources, game, fish, and fertile land, made it an ideal location for any community seeking stability. But beneath its surface lay a history of terror and mystery that spanned centuries. The first known record of Portlock dates back to 1785, when British Captain Nathaniel Portlock arrived. His crew found the remnants of an abandoned native village. It puzzled them. Why would anyone leave such a bountiful place? Yet, as they attempted to settle, sickness swept through the crew. The fear grew so overwhelming that the crew begged Portlock to leave. He eventually agreed, retreating with his men. Little did they know, they weren't the first to face this mystery. 6 years earlier, Spanish explorers had also arrived, only to encounter eerily similar circumstances. They too fell ill, plagued by haunting cries from the forest.
Oh, there he goes.
Overwhelmed by an intangible terror, the Spanish fled, leaving the land untouched. Infrasound, nature's invisible threat. One theory to explain the sickness and fear experienced by these early settlers is infrasound. This low-frequency vibration, imperceptible to human ears, can induce nausea, vertigo, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Produced by predators like tigers and sperm whales, infrasound disorients prey, making them easier targets. Could this be the reason why both the British and Spanish settlers fled? If so, what predator was lurking in Portlock capable of such an effect? The answer remains elusive, but it marked only the beginning of Portlock's chilling legacy. The Sugak's encounter with cannibal giants. In 1867, the Sugpiaq people, a nomadic native community, attempted to settle in the area. Initially, the abundance of food seemed to promise a prosperous life, but their hopes were dashed when a new terror emerged: raids by what they described as cannibal giants. These giants, known in their language as the Nantiinak, were half-man, half-beast creatures that hunted the villagers. The attacks were brutal and relentless. When game was scarce, the giants targeted the Sugpiaq themselves. Despite their best efforts to defend their new home, the Sugak eventually abandoned Portlock, leaving behind stories of horrifying encounters with the Nantiinak.
They're out looking for food, maybe raiding the campgrounds or sneaking around.
The Alutiiq's bold attempt to thrive. By 1921, a new group, the Alutiiq, arrived at Portlock. Determined to overcome its cursed history, they brought modern industry, building a cannery, school, and post office. Unlike their predecessors, the Alutiiq implemented strict rules to avoid provoking the forest's mysterious inhabitants. Nighttime curfews, armed guards, and a prohibition on entering the foggy woods helped the community thrive for nearly a decade. But over time, their vigilance waned. As the Alutiiq grew more comfortable, they relaxed their rules, a mistake that would reignite Portlock's sinister reputation. The death of Andrew Kamluck. In 1931, a logger named Andrew Kamluck ventured deeper into the forest than ever before. When he didn't return, his friends searched for him, only to find a gruesome scene. Kamluck's head had been crushed by his own sled, which was flung far from his body. His dogs were torn apart, their remains scattered around the site. The sheer force required to move the sled and maul the dogs left the community in shock. Soon after, another resident, Tom Olson, spotted a massive hairy creature on the beach. Though armed with a rifle, Olson froze, unable to shoot. His sighting confirmed the community's worst fears. The Nantiinak was real, and it was growing bolder. A string of disappearances. The death of Andrew Kamluck marked the beginning of a terrifying period for Portlock. Hunters, loggers, and even gold prospectors began disappearing. When bodies were found, they were often mangled beyond recognition, bearing claw marks and signs of brutal attacks. Skeptics attributed these injuries to bears, but the Alutiiq were convinced it was the work of the Nantiinaq. Fear gripped the town, forcing the community to reinstate their strict safety measures.
Because I saw it on his face and I saw it in his eyes, and I know they're real. I think it would be great if he was still alive to see the popularity of the Bigfoot culture.
Despite their efforts, the disappearances continued, each incident inching closer to the heart of Portlock. The 1950 mass exodus, a sudden departure. By 1950, the terror in Portlock had reached its peak. The Alutiiq community, which had tried to build a thriving town with modern amenities, could no longer endure the escalating deaths and disappearances. Up to 36 residents had gone missing, with many bodies turning up brutally mutilated. The final straw was the collective fear that no rules, patrols, or precautions could stop the creature they believed to be the NantiinaqNanuk. The exodus was almost overnight. Residents abandoned their homes, leaving behind their belongings and businesses. The suddenness of the departure suggested an urgency born of fear. Only one man, the town's post office worker, remained briefly to fulfill his duties. He later reported hearing heavy, two-legged footsteps outside his barricaded post office at night. It wasn't long before he too fled, leaving Portlock utterly deserted. Post-abandonment encounters, the legend grows. Even after the community's departure, the chilling legend of Portlock continued. In the 1970s, 3 hunters were forced to take shelter in the abandoned village during a storm. That night, they experienced a series of unsettling events as something circled their camp, growling and making strange guttural sounds. Each of the hunters reported that the creature's movement suggested it was walking on 2 legs, a detail that reinforced the belief in the NantiinaqNanuk's existence. Later, another group of hunters tracking a moose near the Portlock area stumbled upon oversized, human-like footprints over 18 inches long.
Oh, there he goes.
Following the tracks, they discovered signs of a violent struggle in the grass, where the moose tracks abruptly ended. The enormous footprints continued into the mountains, leaving no doubt in the hunters' minds that whatever had taken the moose was no ordinary predator. A haunting tale from 1990. In one of the most eerie modern accounts, a paramedic in Anchorage recounted a chilling encounter with an Alutiiq elder in 1990. The elder, a 70-year-old man, had suffered a heart attack while in jail. As the paramedic tried to engage him with casual conversation, he mentioned hunting near the forests of Portlock. To the paramedic's shock, the elder immediately grabbed his shirt and demanded, "Did you see it? Did it bother you?" His terror was palpable as he repeated the question, even as guards restrained him. The incident underscored the deep-seated fear that Portlock still evoked in those who once called it home. Explanations and skepticism. Nature or myth? While believers in the NantiinaqNanuk point to the abundance of stories and evidence, skeptics argue that the events in Portlock can be explained by natural phenomena or human error. Some experts attribute the mutilated bodies and oversized footprints to aggressive bears. Alaska's wilderness is home to brown and black bears, known for their strength and territorial behavior. However, critics argue that bears rarely attack humans with the ferocity described and are unlikely to display the calculated behavior attributed to the NantiinaqNanuk. The death of Andrew could have been caused by a logging accident. His crushed head and the scattered remains of his sled and dogs might result from a freak series of events. Yet the sheer strength required to move the sled so far from the site casts doubt on this explanation.
No matter how much proof you hand to the scientific community, they're not going to believe it until, like I said, they can do an autopsy on it.
The sickness and fear reported by the earliest settlers could have been caused by infrasound from natural sources like wind or geological activity. This theory, while plausible, does not explain the violent attacks and disappearances that plagued later settlers. Some suggest that the legend of the NantiinaqNanuk was a cautionary tale created by elders to keep children from wandering into dangerous areas. Over time, these stories may have evolved into a full-blown myth, amplified by fear and isolation. Uprooted trees, a puzzle beyond explanation. One of the most mysterious elements of the Portlock legend is the discovery of trees driven into the ground upside down. Witnesses reported finding entire clusters of trees, their roots exposed and pointing skyward. critics argue that hurricanes or other natural disasters could account for this phenomenon, but the precision and consistency of the uprooted trees challenge this explanation. For believers, these trees are a testament to the sheer power of the Nantiinak, reinforcing its status as a force of nature unlike any other. The divided testimony of Sally Ash and Melania Kell. Sally Ash, an Alutiiq elder, has long downplayed the role of the Nantiinak in Portlock's abandonment. She attributes the mass exodus to economic opportunities in nearby towns like NantiinaqNanuk and Seldovia, where better schools, churches, and livelihoods awaited the community. However, Ash's own behavior raises questions. She admits that her people imposed strict safety rules while living in Portlock and continue to avoid making noise or drawing attention when passing through the area today. In contrast, Melania Kell, another Alutiiq elder and Ash's cousin, has openly supported the Nantiinak legend. In a 2009 interview, she described how the creature terrorized the community, killing residents and driving them away. While Ash served as her translator during the interview, she later refuted Kell's account.
She said they didn't let their kids out. When they go out, the adults would go with them. And they warned them not to go alone.
Insisting that the Nantiinak never harmed anyone. The conflicting testimonies reveal the tension between preserving cultural heritage and seeking rational explanations. Comparisons to global cryptid legends. The Nantiinak is often compared to similar cryptid legends from around the world. Its towering stature, hairy appearance, and human-like behavior place it in the same category as Bigfoot, the Yeti, and other mythical creatures. These similarities have sparked speculation about whether such legends stem from a shared psychological archetype or actual encounters with undiscovered species. Some researchers suggest that the Nantiinak could represent a surviving population of archaic humans or an unknown primate. While this theory lacks concrete evidence, it adds an interesting dimension to the Portlock story, suggesting that its mysteries may have global implications. Portlock's influence on modern culture. The chilling legend of Portlock and the Nantiinak has left an unerasable mark on modern culture. Its story has become a cornerstone of Alaskan folklore, captivating locals and outsiders alike. Cryptozoologists, paranormal enthusiasts, and researchers continue to delve into its mysteries, bringing renewed attention to the abandoned village and its ominous predator. From documentaries to online discussions, the tale of Portlock has become a staple in conversations about the unexplained. The combination of historical accounts, physical evidence, and survivor testimonies makes it one of the most compelling cryptid stories in North America. The Nantiinak and cryptozoology. For cryptozoologists, the Nantiinak is a prime example of how legends can bridge the gap between folklore and science. Its reported characteristics, a towering humanoid figure with extraordinary strength, align with descriptions of other cryptids like Bigfoot and the Yeti. This consistency fuels speculation about the existence of an undiscovered species, possibly a relic population of archaic humans or a large primate. The oversized footprints, uprooted trees, and mutilated bodies provide tangible elements that lend credibility to the stories.
The trees were reported inverted back in the 1940s.
The Nantiinak's calculated movements, territorial nature, and vengeful tendencies mirror behaviors observed in highly intelligent predators. Despite spanning centuries, the descriptions of the Nantiinak have remained remarkably consistent, suggesting a shared cultural memory or genuine encounters. While skeptics argue that these elements can be explained by natural phenomena or exaggerations, cryptozoologists see them as vital clues in the search for unknown creatures. Media representation of Portlock. The legend of Portlock has gained traction in popular media, with numerous documentaries, podcasts, and articles dedicated to unraveling its mysteries. Shows like Expedition Bigfoot have drawn parallels between the Nantiinak and similar creatures, sparking debates among audiences about the plausibility of such encounters. Online forums and social media platforms have also played a significant role in keeping the story alive. Enthusiasts share theories, analyze historical accounts, and discuss potential explanations for the events in Portlock. These discussions highlight the universal fascination with the unknown and the enduring appeal of cryptid legends. A psychological perspective on fear and folklore. Portlock's story offers valuable insights into the psychological impact of fear and isolation. The strict safety measures imposed by the Alutiiq, curfews, armed guards, and avoidance of foggy conditions, reflect a community's attempt to cope with an overwhelming threat. These precautions, while rooted in practical concerns, also contributed to the creation of a shared cultural narrative that emphasized survival. The NantiinaqNanuk, whether real or symbolic, embodies the human struggle against the unknown. Its presence in the Portlock legend serves as a reminder of our vulnerability in the face of forces we cannot fully understand. This theme resonates across cultures and time periods, making the NantiinaqNanuk a compelling figure in global folklore. Ongoing research and investigation. Despite its abandonment, Portlock remains a site of interest for researchers and adventurers. Advances in technology, such as drone surveillance and thermal imaging, have allowed more comprehensive investigations into the area. While no definitive evidence of the NantiinaqNanuk has been uncovered, these efforts have brought new perspectives to the mystery. In recent years, archaeological studies have sought to understand the history of Portlock's previous settlements. These investigations aim to uncover clues about the village's repeated abandonments, shedding light on the interplay between human activity and the natural environment. Conflicting narratives among the Alutiiq. The divided accounts of Sally Ash and Melania Kell continue to fuel debate about the true nature of the NantiinaqNanuk. While Ash emphasizes economic factors as the primary reason for Portlock's abandonment, her acknowledgement of the community's strict rules raises questions about her dismissal of the creature's role. Kell's testimony, on the other hand, firmly places the NantiinaqNanuk at the center of the village's misfortunes, describing it as a deadly predator that terrorized the community. These conflicting narratives highlight the complexities of oral history, where memory, culture, and personal experience intersect. They also underscore the difficulty of separating fact from fiction in cases where fear and folklore play a significant role. The NantiinaqNanuk's role in Alaskan identity. For many Alaskans, the NantiinaqNanuk is more than just a cryptid. It's a symbol of the state's untamed wilderness and the challenges of living in remote, harsh environments. The creature represents the tension between human ambition and nature's unpredictability, a theme that resonates deeply with those who call Alaska home. Portlock's legend also serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of ignoring the balance between humanity and the natural world. Whether through fear of the NantiinaqNanuk or respect for the land's inherent dangers, the story reminds us of the need to coexist with the environment rather than dominate it. Portlock in the context of global folklore. The tale of Portlock and the NantiinaqNanuk resonates far beyond Alaska, joining a tapestry of global legends that feature mysterious creatures and unexplained phenomena. From the towering Yeti of the Himalayas to the elusive Bigfoot of the Pacific Northwest, these cryptids share characteristics that invite comparisons and spark debate. What sets the NantiinaqNanuk apart, however, is the intensity and consistency of the events described. Unlike many cryptid stories, which rely heavily on scattered sightings, Portlock's history includes multiple accounts of violence, mutilation, and abandonment. This narrative depth has cemented its place as one of the most compelling cryptid legends in North America. For folklorists, Portlock serves as a case study in how cultural narratives evolve in response to environmental challenges. The NantiinaqNanuk, whether a real creature or a symbolic representation, embodies the fears and uncertainties of those who sought to tame Alaska's wilderness. The symbolism of the NantiinaqNanuk. The NantiinaqNanuk's role in Portlock's story extends beyond its cryptid status. It represents the natural world's capacity to resist human encroachment, challenging the settlers who tried to impose order on an untamed landscape.
The Kusaka is one of the most terrifying creatures there is in our folklore.
The creature's intelligence, strength, and vengeful behavior make it a powerful symbol of nature's unpredictability and resilience. In this context, the NantiinaqNanuk can be seen as a cautionary figure, warning against overconfidence in the face of the unknown. Its presence in the Portlock legend reminds us that even the most determined efforts to control nature can falter in the face of forces beyond our understanding. The psychological impact of isolation. Portlock's story also highlights the psychological toll of isolation and fear. The strict rules imposed by the Alutiiq community, curfews, armed patrols, and the avoidance of fog, reflect a collective attempt to manage an overwhelming threat. These measures, while practical, also reinforced a culture of caution and anxiety that shaped the community's perception of the Nantiinaq. For those who lived in Portlock, the creature became a focal point for their fears, embodying the dangers of the wilderness and the fragility of human life in such an environment. This psychological dimension adds another layer of complexity to the legend, illustrating how fear can influence behavior and decision-making. Investigating the evidence, challenges and opportunities. Despite decades of interest, conclusive evidence of the Nantiinaq remains elusive. Physical traces, such as oversized footprints and uprooted trees, provide tantalizing clues, but lack the verifiability needed to satisfy scientific standards. Similarly, eyewitness accounts, while compelling, are often dismissed as unreliable due to the influence of fear, memory distortion, and folklore. Modern technology offers new opportunities to investigate the Portlock mystery. Tools like motion-sensing cameras, drones, and advanced sound recording equipment can monitor the area for signs of unusual activity. Archaeological studies can also shed light on the village's history.
You have to watch out for those big black gorillas that live up there. By driving these blown down trees into the ground upside down,
revealing how its inhabitants interacted with the environment and what may have contributed to their repeated departures. While the search for definitive answers continues, the lack of resolution only adds to the allure of Portlock and its mysterious predator. The role of oral histories in preserving the legend. The Alutiiq community's oral histories are crucial to understanding the Portlock legend. These stories, passed down through generations, provide a rich narrative that blends historical events with cultural memory. They also reflect the ways in which communities use storytelling to make sense of their experiences and navigate their environment. However, oral histories also present challenges. The passage of time, differences in interpretation, and the influence of external narratives can all shape how these stories are told. In the case of Portlock, the conflicting accounts of Sally Ash and Melania Kell illustrate the complexities of preserving and interpreting oral traditions. The future of Portlock, preservation and exploration. As interest in Portlock grows, efforts to preserve its history and explore its mysteries are gaining momentum. Researchers, cryptozoologists, and adventurers continue to visit the area, driven by a desire to uncover the truth about its past and its alleged predator. At the same time, cultural preservation initiatives aim to document the stories of the Alutiiq and other settlers, ensuring that their experiences are not lost to time. These efforts provide valuable insights into how communities adapt to challenging environments and how they interpret and respond to the unknown. What Portlock teaches us about the unknown. The story of Portlock and the Nantiinaq is ultimately a reminder of humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown. It challenges us to confront our fears, question our assumptions, and explore the boundaries of what we consider possible. Whether the Nantiinaq is a cryptid, a symbol, or a myth, its legend continues to inspire curiosity and wonder.
Is it going to be proven or is it not going to be proven? Well, curiosity drives human nature.
Portlock's history also underscores the importance of respecting and understanding the natural world. The repeated attempts to settle the village, despite its ominous reputation, reflect humanity's determination to conquer the wilderness. Yet the legacy of Portlock suggests that true coexistence requires humility, caution, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. A testament to humanity's relationship with fear. The story of Portlock is not merely about a cryptid or a mysterious predator. It reflects humanity's complex relationship with fear and the unknown. The rules and precautions adopted by the Alutiiq, avoiding the forest, imposing curfews, and patrolling the streets, serve as a metaphor for the ways humans attempt to create order in a chaotic and unpredictable world. These measures highlight how communities respond to threats, both real and imagined, by building systems of control and shared understanding. Portlock also illustrates how fear can cross generations. The haunting cries, ominous footprints, and violent disappearances left an unerasable mark not only on those who lived through them, but also on their descendants and the broader cultural consciousness. It is this universal resonance that keeps the legend of Portlock alive, inspiring further exploration, study, and storytelling. Ultimately, The story of Portlock challenges us to embrace the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding, while respecting the power and unpredictability of the natural world. Portlock, Alaska, remains a place of unanswered questions and unresolved fears. Its story, woven from historical accounts, cultural narratives, and modern investigations, is a testament to the power of mystery. The Nantiinaq, whether real or imagined, has left an unerasable mark on those who encountered it, or believed they did. As researchers continue to explore Portlock's secrets, the legend of the Nantiinaq reminds us that some mysteries may never be fully explained, and perhaps that's part of their enduring appeal. The ghost town of Portlock may be abandoned, but its story lives on, challenging us to embrace the unknown and marvel at the possibilities it represents.